I don't believe in dictatorship or excessive use of power. And in fact, when you use too much force on children, they become rebels. Teach them love. When they love their teachers, they would not like to disobey. Whoever you love, you would like to please by behavior, provided the behavior is the right one. So that was my approach. Well, my name is Christopher Azubuike Osamor. I was born to the Osamor family of Agbonta, Osamor. My late father was Gabriel Okonkwo Osamor. And my mother was Eunice Titi Obiadeli Osamor ni Nwogwonuwe. She was the first daughter of late Chief Nwogwonuwe of Onichokwe. So that was my parentage. They were of the Anglican denomination, and so I was brought up as an Anglican. I was baptized as an Anglican. I schooled at the old Ubulu-Uku primary school, but midway during primary I transferred. My mother went to Okwude because my father was a staff of the local government, the old local administration system. I completed my primary school, Standard 6 they called it, at Government School of Okwude, 1946, a year after the end of the Second World War. Then I went to Edo College to have my secondary school education on a scholarship by that NA government. And as it happened, that exam was competitive. All the government schools in the old Benin province sat for that exam. My father didn't have money because my two brothers were already in secondary schools. But as fate would have it, I was awarded scholarship to go to Edo College. That's how I had my secondary education. I completed 1951 December with the old Cambridge senior school certificate. And it was an appreciation of that scholarship which I enjoyed that made me have an ambition to serve the local government, which I did after I had retired as a teacher. And I was the first chairman of the reformed local government system. I didn't go further in politics because Nigerians didn't seem to understand politics. One of our leaders there told me that he observed I didn't like money. I was not interested in the hustles and so on. Why was I in politics? I said, well, in other lands, politics is not a place to make money. You can go into business if you want to be a millionaire, but politics is for service. And I studied Britain for some years, so that was my motivation. I found I didn't fit in, as a matter of fact. That's how my political efforts stopped. Then I went to Lagos, joined the civil service, and there were reforms which gave opportunities to youth and so on. And so I got a scholarship from the old Western government, Western regional government. We were part of the former old region. So that landed me in Britain in a British Polytechnic. Went to Polytechnic to do A-levels. I went to Southwest Essex Technical College in London for 2 years. From there, I went to the University of Edinburgh. I lost interest in the course that I had chosen, which was veterinary medicine and so on. I had become political because that was a period of radical politics actually in the British Empire. I was representative of this African Students Association in the University Representative Council. Universities had Students Representative Council. So I represented African Students Association. That's in Edinburgh. After 1 year, I left. I decided to go and study law. I thought that law was the direct way, more relevant to politics. You would study constitution, you would study government, and all the courses that are related, Unfortunately, I got a setback. People who promised to sponsor me disappointed me after I had spent 1 year in Holborn College of Law. I had done the constitutional law stage, that is what they call it, intermediate degree in law, inter-LLB of University of London. Then while doing that course, I became sick. I decided to come back home here. Government did not allow me to change my course. They didn't want to sponsor me because they needed more people in science, which was true, really. So I told them I would like to come back. So when I came, there was this school here, Associate of Science Teachers, and had my A-level in physics, chemistry, botany, and zoology. So I fitted into a secondary school teaching. That was 1963, January to September. Then there was another opportunity for scholarship by USAID, United States Aid for International Development. I said, since I had done my science to advanced level, let me complete the degree. Let me do a degree in science. And it was easy for me to get this scholarship. So I went to Haile Selassie University, as it was then called, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. There I completed my bachelor's degree, and during my long vacations, weekends, and so on, I enrolled in political science courses because I knew I had already developed ambition for politics, and I knew that I would definitely be a politician one day. So to get equipped, that's it. 1966, after the coup, I was in Addis Ababa when the coup took place. It was no surprise to me. I expected it because I knew Balewa government wasn't doing well. He could not stand the likes of Kwame Nkrumah, and all the others. It was no match. He didn't have the equipment, mental equipment to lead Nigeria, but somehow the result was a coup. It surprised many people. It didn't surprise me. I expected it. We rejoiced. But then I had to come back home. I came back to this school because I didn't resign. I asked for a leave of absence. So I joined the school under the late Ezekiel Alpha-Mifuna. I was here when the Civil War broke out. And Modi, because he had affinity with the eastern region of Old, he fled there because he was a politician and was really expected to be involved. He was a member of the House of Reps. Then he fell to me to become the acting principal of this school. That was October 1967. Many of our teachers fled because they came from the East. Qualified teachers normally came from the East because they had teacher training colleges and higher institutions which we lacked here in this side. But gradually, our students began to get the HSC, which qualified them to teach science at the secondary school level. I got married in 1967, and my wife was working in Lagos. That was a problem, how to keep two homes and so on. So later I moved to Lagos. I had the permission of the diocesan secretary to go there. My idea was that I would attend evening classes to do my education, professional training. then work in the day to keep my family. But luckily, the school I was posted to, Lagos City College, had an evening, afternoon shift, and morning shift. I was placed in the afternoon shift. And so I was free to do my university studies in the morning. So that's how I did my postgraduate diploma in education, 1970-71. By that time, government had taken over schools. So I then applied for transfer. Instead of resigning and coming here to reapply, I then asked for transfer from Lagos City College. That is state government appointment to our own government here in Vendel. I think Vendel was the name then. So I came here, taught for a while. Modi had returned, but before he returned, I was transferred to ICC, Benin City, because also that was a Catholic school. This was the Anglican school, but all schools were under the control of the state government that time. From there, I went to Ubulu College. I was principal there, 73 to 76. Then I came to the State Board of Education in Benin. And then when time was there for politics again, I retired because I had served many years and I was over 45 years. So that's how I left the teaching profession at that time. Then won the council election in Aniocha, the old Aniocha, and became the first chairman from 1976 to 1979. So that's what really happened. I was still a young man, but I had joined the politics, and it seemed to be the right thing for me to do. I loved my teaching, but I love politics more. Only that Nigerians, I believe Nigerians don't understand politics. Last August 10, I was 92 years, so I'm heading towards 93 now. Well, I've always been a Democrat, really. Equality of opportunity to everybody without discrimination. Fair treatment of the lower classes and the poorer people, that kind of thing. Britain, as you know, it's a social welfare system. Unequal in Nigeria, in the world, as far as I know, but I may be wrong. Some other countries may have attained a standard, but at that time, the British government took care of the citizens from the cradle to the grave. There are many people who should be in high institutions, they are not, because they cannot afford to pay the fees. Because free education didn't just mean going to school free. What will you eat? Feeding allowance. Many people criticize me for my methods. Okwude people here, our neighbors, and the other neighboring people here, some of them were brothers. Now, with that confusion of the Civil War, many people lost their jobs, many people lost their parents, and so they had no help. Now, I had to relax it here. I was quite conscious of what was going on. The borders, Okwude people and our neighbors here, they were accommodated by their colleagues. Some might have slept under the floor, but some still had some beds. But I allowed them. Later, some of them were able to pay the debt. Their parents got jobs, new appointments, and were able to come back and pay what they owed. So I was relaxed about these school fees because I felt really that they should not be paying school fees. if they were British or any other people. So I didn't insist on these fees. We allowed them to pay us and whenever. Teachers, well, teachers are funny people. When I started, I think I was quite popular. And then more and more teachers were graduating for university. I employed them. Now my colleagues, some of them felt that I should not be their boss because I have no teaching qualification. I have no teaching qualification. That's when I began as principal here. I told you I left here now to go to Lagos to get that teaching qualification, which is useful. But knowledge of the subject matter I maintain is more important than the fanciful things, the theories that they never apply to teaching, which they learn at teacher colleges. For instance, in Lagos, we learn curriculum development and that kind of thing. In Nigeria, doesn't know anything about curriculum, as far as I know, even up till now. We're still teaching the wrong subjects, ignoring the right subjects. I talked about history this morning, If I were the head of state, I would have made history compulsory. Because if you don't know your past, you can't understand your present, you cannot plan or foresee your future. And that's what is happening. Nigeria has collapsed now. Nigeria has collapsed because of poor planning. Well, we hope that God will help us out of the problem. I didn't have too many pressures here, but in Lagos I did. I was teaching in 3 schools. I told you about Lagos because that's the official one. Evening schools abounded in Lagos too, so you could take a 3rd job. I needed it because my family was growing. My wife for part of the time didn't have a job. So that's the kind of pressure. Not really. They were mainly cooperative. We were just putting things together, things that had fallen apart as it were, So most people cooperated. The palace had no room to interfere. I knew the Obi very well. We were in London for some time together and that kind of thing. And so there was cooperation, I would say. But I was not a religious fanatic. I'm trained in science. And obviously, I think differently from those who trained in theology or history or what else that you have, Some of them disagree with me a number of times. But, it was all part of, it was useful experience to me, actually. I regard that as a useful experience. It was good. This school was very famous at that time. It was very popular.
In terms of sports?
Sports and everything. Science, not many schools could afford to teach science. And late Modi made sure that's why I had, we were related actually, but he kind of influenced me. It made me to like teaching, as a matter of fact. So he did a lot. The school was an outstanding school in the old Midwest,
From the time when you came, how many principals were ahead of you?
Only Modi now. Only Modi. Modi was the foundation principal. He graduated from Fudabi in 1954, came back. I forget where he was posted to now. From there he began to negotiate for this school. I knew because my late father was a member of the committee, education committee. They had to travel to Ibadan to request permission to open this school.
So, if I may ask, so what can I say was your most significant contribution to this school?
Well, I think I made science popular here. In fact, there was a time that the school became very popular. People were leaving their schools to come here. Because I also took special interest in recruiting qualified teachers. You know, every year we had our universities were producing people. Some people on grounds of course or whatever would not like, and employed highly qualified teachers in science, and our school was noted as a science school. I'm not aware if the principal's office was ever looted or burnt with fire or anything, so I believe that school records will be available. If you refer to the school records, you may find some of them. We were very good in football, athletics, and all those other things.
So compared to other schools around, when you were a principal, what would you rate the Anglican grammar school on a scale of 1 to 10?
So you know, we had a rival school here, St. Anthony's, but our results showed better performance than their own. Even though they were reverend fathers, highly qualified people, we had graduates in all the sciences and some in arts too, and they worked hard. You know, teachers of the past were hard working, so the result was we were getting good results. What do they call it? WAEC exams and so on. Our people were doing very well. Even some left St. Patrick's Asaba to come here. St. Patrick's had been famous for many years before this was established. Many people crossed over from here to us. That almost brought misunderstanding, really. Well, amicably, I would say, we started, we relaxed that kind of thing. It was not easy. It was no longer easy for people to cross from our school to this school. Because there was a time they were poor. I don't know what really happened. I can't remember the cause. The science laboratories were not well equipped. I don't know the reason. Ours were well equipped because of the teachers. I used to go to Lagos to buy science equipment. And I used to provide for science in the budget, annual budget. So obviously that was one way that we lifted the status of the school. Although I regret some of the things we taught, today I don't believe in evolution. Today, most scientists have rejected evolution. All the arguments of Charles Darwin, I was even one of his disciples. I thought that he had solved the problem. And so at that time, I had not known what I know now, or what I knew later, because I'm not just knowing it now. Me, I'm not very, what shall we say, familiar with financial methods. But when it was owned by the diocese, we had the diocesan treasurer, diocesan secretary, you know, a kind of cabinet with the bishop in Benin. So they decided most things. And we merely complied. You know, I was not really interested in how they manage their finances and so on, provided they gave enough money to equip the laboratories and to provide essential things for the school, which we got. There was one difficult education secretary, Nwogwonuwe from Okwude, you know. He was trying to interfere. I don't know. He had some people here who were telling him that I wasn't serious with the religion. I was not a good Christian, so they thought, you know, that kind of thing. So he was trying to interfere, I would say, because as an adult, it's not at my age that you would convert me, and I was born into the system. I was born and baptized in the system. So I did my best. But as a science teacher, I had my duty to teach what was in the syllabus. That's this evolution. Many people were uncomfortable with evolution, really. Oh, yes, definitely. I store books a lot, I store records a lot. My house is full of records. Some are dusty, but I still refer to them.
I'll come and
Okay, yeah.
I'll come to you so that we'll do some kind
Yeah. As an insider, you're entitled to have access to anything in my house.
Thank you, sir. That's a very good honor.
I have nothing to hide in my life, to tell you the truth. Nothing at all. Okay, can I hide it? Well, the greatness of most institutions in foreign lands, Yale, Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, and all these things, the greatest backers are the ex-products. You know, that's why they continue to be famous. There's no way anybody can take it from them, because they're maintaining standards all the same. So I know that things are getting better and better. So advice is that the old products should help their alma mater, as they call it, you know, to be up to date, so as to maintain the former glories. That's what I will do. Me, myself, since I became old, I've not been active with my Ekoba association in Green, old boys of the college, you know, that kind of thing. But I know many of them, they help themselves. When they're in high positions too, naturally they think of themselves. My classmates, Agbonta was his name, Tayo Agbonta. It was easy for him to be Minister for Education through this connection. I'm not supporting that incompetent people should be given high position, but definitely it's a way of encouraging people